For now, barring any announcements, this is it for my Black Mirror forays.
So okay, I'm going to eat my words, and yes, we did get a 5th season of Black Mirror. It is a shorter season though, so I don't know if that's indicative of anything in the future, but I'm not going to make any more predictions because I don't want to be wrong twice. But yeah, this is just 3 episodes, so we're going to tackle the first one, of course, now, and just as a little sidebar, it's going to throw this month and probably the start of July a bit wonky because we're doing the Buffy Angel thing. That was a bad timing for me, and also in July we've got Stranger Things Season 3 coming out, so the next few months are going to be a bit wonky, so bear with me. But back to today's main topic. Striking Vipers is atypical, I suppose, for Black Mirror in some ways. Yes, it's still about technology and exploring the ideas behind it, how it shapes us, and of course this is very much leaning on Charlie Brooker's history, you know, in gaming media. That is how he really got his start. But it doesn't do the sort of horror or cautionary tale angle quite so much, as it explores some very interesting ideas, given that this is generally considered to be Pride Month. And that's the ideas of sexuality, gender identity even, you could argue, and the general sociological, sexual, ideas that Black Mirror does tackle, as well as its more horrific and unsettling side. But this one isn't really creepy, it's not unsettling, it is, like I say, more of just a drama of people. And it's great for it. Yes, it does have callbacks, of course, it does have references. The world has been ever growing and ever linking with what's come before and what will come in the future. We see the same device, powering the VR as we see in Playtest, I believe, and others. That kind of little thing that they pop on their heads. So we do have that sort of continuation of ideas. Also, these devices are of course made by TCKR or Tucker Systems, which has been a part of this for a long time as well. So we are clearly building on some great world building that's come before and furthering those ideas. And to sort of finalise these callbacks before we get into the meat of the episode, the real analysis, I did notice a chocolate bar, and I believe it said Lacey on, which of course is Bryce Dallas Howard's character in Nosedive, and these guys are sticklers for detail. That surely was intentional. But the episode itself, like I say, does tackle some very interesting and very current, very appropriate ideas given the month we're in. Because Anthony Mackie's character, he's just trying to, just enjoy his life, and obviously at the start, this Carl does sort of get him in to things, he gets him into trouble, he keeps him playing games when he shouldn't. And of course later on in life, a good chunk of time passes and he gets him the game and the VR system, and it's like, just try it, jack yourself in and come and play, we'll have some fun. And then we get, a great performance, I think, from everyone in this episode. But it took me a while to figure out that this was, of course, Pom Clementif, who you may know as Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy, etc. I realised about, I think, the last third. I was like, wait, that's Pom. Oh, that makes me feel weird. But the choreography of the fights and everything like that, while we're talking about that, it was great. It was very impactful, very well cut together, and it really brought you into the world. That's what I always love about Black Mirror. It brings you into the world. It makes you suspend your disbelief at the situation so that it can really tell a good story. Whilst they're in this virtual environment, one playing as an opposite gender, they copulate, I think, is the nicest phrasing that will not get me in trouble with the overseers. And that starts a whole kind of issue of, trust between, obviously, him and Theo, and I'd say with Carl as well, but also exploration of, what is this thing they have? And we know, after a while, Carl is kind of craving it a lot more. And yeah, okay, there's probably craving on both sides, but it's definitely more on Carl's side. He needs it because, he doesn't have someone he's married to. He's still kind of having occasional flings and hookups and things like that. He isn't really fully settled down. But of course, you know, if you're in a marriage situation, you can't carry this on. This is effectively an affair. But if it's not real, if there's no physical interaction, is it cheating? And because they are, or at least Carl is gender swapped, is this gay? Or is it hetero? Or is it somewhere in between? Is it like a pansexuality? You know, the experiences, the feedback, the haptic feedback, I guess you could say, that Carl's getting back from this, you know, he says in the episode,
it's crazy. I mean, it's different. Like, the physical feeling of it is more sort of satisfying.
which is where I get the idea of a gender identity issue coming through. A lot of times people don't understand gender identity issues. And that's fine. Unless you've experienced issues yourself with it, it's very hard to get your head around. But it's almost like Carl's having this, like, that was more fulfilling than being like the male equivalent. It just felt so much better, so much more satisfying. And I do think this is it's just a very light brush, I think, of it. I don't think it's really exploring it in a major way. I don't think we're meant to think that Carl is eventually at some point perhaps going to go through a transitioning process, partially or fully. But at least it kind of says, hey, this could be, you know, something to think about. And certainly, like I say, with my experience, with my knowledge, I've picked up on that, rightly or wrongly. But over time, you know, it does wear down, and, you know, it becomes that point of we need to either knock it on the head or fully embrace it. You know, so there is that moment of, let's meet in public and have the kiss. And I love that moment. It wasn't done for sensationalism. It wasn't, you know, played up in some dramatic way. There wasn't sweeping strings and everything like that. It was just literally two guys in the rain trying to figure out, are we a bit gay or bi or whatever it may be. And I felt at the moment where it's like, I didn't get anything out of that. I doubt that was truth, especially with the closure of the episode. I think that was a convenient lie, so that they could move on from this, so they could get on with their lives. They chose to go, this is weird and wrong. I didn't feel anything out of that. No. Even though they know deep down they did. But, you know, things happen, time goes on, and we're led to believe that Theo is told of the truth. And she herself has had moments, you know, she obviously at the start of the episode we know about her love of role play, and, you know, she kind of has that attention from that guy, and, you know, she misses that, especially in this period where her husband's being quite distant. So at the end of the episode, you know, we're led to believe it's a sort of open relationship. Now, my viewpoint is that hers is a lot more serious than his. At the end of the day, his is with someone he knows, and it's also not a physical, real interaction, whereas she is given the go-ahead to seek other men's attention. And I've seen online that people were very confused about the gifts at the end. Obviously, his was the VR interface, but what was she given? And, you know, I've seen people being confused about this online, and I thought it was very clear. So if you are confused, it's the box that she puts the ring in at the end of the episode, so that she has somewhere to store it safe, because the wedding, you know, the marriage still exists, but it's so she can keep it safe, so she can go out and pretend to be a single woman for one night, as, you know, if he can have his time with Carl. And I often think that open relationships are very difficult things to make work. If you look at a lot of the history, there's often a one-sided approach to this. One party wants it more than the other. In this situation, it does seem an even split. Some people think it's a way to repair a relationship, and it doesn't always work that way. So to get a bit sort of like serious and real, you know, definitely it's not, I don't think this episode is saying, hey, open relationships are a great way to save your marriage if you're wanting to cheat. I think it's a way of kind of saying, find a way that works, that you can move forward together. And if this is what works, that's great. So like I say, this episode has a lot to it. You know, it's not just simply, a bit of sensationalism. You know, it's a very interesting take on gender identity and sexuality, and really what makes a relationship work. And I just can't, you know, believe that we're at this point where Black Mirror, something that was known for shock value and horrific ideas, has matured to be telling very, very intricate, personal tales. I can't wait to get to the next 2 for you over the next few weeks, and like I say, probably into July. I love this series, and like I say, I'm not going to make any baseless projections ever again. I don't care if in the Miley Cyrus one it says, "This is the end," in big capital letters all over the screen. I'm not going to believe it, so we'll leave it there for now. And like I say, we'll be back with the other episodes in the coming weeks, and the Buffy and Angel thing will continue. And yes, I'll probably do Stranger Things even if I haven't done the others. And there's a lot of stuff coming. I've been working on sort of a couple of more video essay kind of things to make it a bit more interesting, and really a bit more interesting for me to work on as well. So there's a lot in the pipeline, so please show your support however you feel. I'm not one to constantly go, oh, support me on this, support me on that, but just reminding you, there's many ways to support me. They're all available for you. But until next time, as always, thanks for watching and take care.